I must first bow to the Imam who saved 262 lives in a village during the barbarous episodes in Plateau State. He granted an interview to the BBC in Pidgin and said how he was able to stay off the beasts of plunder and murder by denying that he was hiding Christians under his holy shelter. The village known as Inga Yelwa had fallen under the demoniac wave of slaughter. About 79 bodies were buried that ignoble day in just that village as part of the bloodletting that, in some accounts, ran into more than 200 fatalities. If that story is true, he must be the epitome of the Nigerian that this federal government has failed to imagine or conjure among his defense team. A team chock full of dynamites, of fanatics, and incompetence. I also refer with praise to the template set by Simon Lalong, Plateau State Governor, for coexistence between the Fulani and other ethnic groups. It has worked for most parts with relative quiet and copied by some other states. Only a few reports here and there of collapse into bloodletting, but it developed a strain and we saw the fatalities. Such arrangements require good faith from all. Plateau is not an island, and where its neighbors fall under the spell of such pestilential inanity of bloodshed, such tragedies must occur. The Constitution makes governors helpless, yet the federal government acts with impotence. Hence, Zamfara State Governor resigned as Chief Security Officer. Not long after the Plateau mayhem, the Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association came with two voices, the one saying that the dead deserved it for rustling cattle, and the other rebutting it in cowardly, condescending language. In the rebuttal, they shifted focus to the other group known as Mieti Allah Kautal Her and some other shadowy bodies. They implied the other bodies may be cradling the killers. They claimed they are innocent, even as they mounted their defenses. The president visited after his vice president in an unprecedented show of concern. This is no time for symbolism. This is the time for truth. Bloodshed has become a routine in my country, and it is foolish for anyone to think that solution is at hand from the visits by the two men. They have failed to change the security architecture or fish out the killers before the courts. While we are waiting for him to sack his inept, bigoted security team, he signed off the deployment of permanent secretaries. Not long after that, the Bureau have announced that Fulani headsmen have flushed them out of 52 of their villages. In the same breath, one Abdullahi Bodejo of the Kautal Hor said the Fulani own lands all over Nigeria. The federal government has demonstrated no interest in solving this crisis. First, if the villages of Nigerians are under colonial occupation by Moradin Fulani, it means these killers are not spirits. They are waiting there to be caught, arrested, and prosecuted. Yet we have a Minister of Defense with a crude, unrelieved caliphate mentality. The Inspector General of Police, who should be sulking in retirement disgrace, defied his own president by disobeying his orders and bragging about it. The president did nothing. Our Chief of Army Staff does not understand how armies operate in the 21st century. The team is lopsided to the north, yet it is called a Nigerian security team. This is a travesty. So why are the Moridas basking in other people's villages, lounging in their homes and cowing their churches to the cow lifestyles, feasting with Epicurean gloating on their own farm crops? The president said it was unfair to say that he has been silent on the crisis. He probably mistakes the jejune soulless press releases of his spokespersons as his voice. If his voice has been loud enough, the Moredas would have heard. He is an executive president, not a rhetorical president. It is not his voice we need him to act. By leaving his security chiefs intact, it means he is happy with their job. Well, when they kill innocents in Plateau, Taraba, Zamfara, Adamawa, Nasarawa, Benue, and the rest, it is not good enough. They are bumbling, never-do-wells as guarantors of our security. Recently, a crop of young Christians killed a herdsman in cold blood. He was quickly sentenced to death. Over 2,000 children, women, and men have been dispatched out of this world by the herdsmen. I don't know of any case in court. Some 22 men have been arrested over the Plateau killings. I have heard nothing about a court action. The Miete Allah rival groups control most of the cattlemen in the country. If they are sure the killers are not their men, they should clarify who are the killers. Their defense that they did not back the killings does not convince even the gullible. The position that the Fulani does not forgive or that they will revenge the killing of one man with 100 or cattle with the whole village is not a new thing. They and their members have said this in the past, so when cattle are rustled, they exchange human blood. From all accounts, the Makban as well as the Kautal Hor have always in the past 2 years been able to explain why the killings happened. Yet they protest their innocence. How did they know? Why did they not stop them or report their grievance for official response? The goons know that once they undertake their killings, there would be no consequence, and they have been proven right. Even in the case of the Plateau, where no one has been charged to court over a week after it happened. They claim that they are not Nigerians or that they have Nigerian accomplices are charges we are waiting for. But when they are not identified by names, as Obi Ezekwesili has asked, or their biographies revealed, so we know where they come from, then there is official complicity. These men are fanatics with delirium in their eyes. They are not human but savages. How can a modern government shield or coddle savages? What is clear is that we have terrorist organizations in Nigeria. If Makban says it is not them, have they been formally investigated? No evidence about that. What of the other groups? Makban seems to know them from their assertions. So what are we doing about flushing them out and telling us who done it? The lands acquired only reminds us of Hitler's Lebensraum, where he craved with a bloodthirsty eye for a living room for the white race. Is that not what is going on with villagers routed from their own homes? It is obvious that these men are not spirits, but they are like flies humming over our meals because they know we have no hands, and the man feeding us with spoons does not care if the flies drop their body poisons on the food. On the surface, we are in a state of war, but the attackers see it as conquest. The victims see it as tyranny. The government is full of excuses.
Welcome to Big Talk. I have a special guest today. It's none other than Senator Magnus Abe, who is in the middle of a little battle going on in Rivers State. Welcome to my show.
Thank you very much, Sam.
Anytime I read the headlines and follow the events in Rivers, the thing that comes to my mind is Senator Magnus Abe was in a near-death situation at one time when Rotimi Amechi was governor. And I had to call the governor and say, how is he? He said, oh, they have flown him. Was it not to Germany or something like that?
To London.
To London. I said, he told me they had flown him to London. When I think of what happened then and what happened now, I always wonder, what happened?
Well, Sam, first of all, thank you for having me on the show, and then thank you for the interest you've always shown in Rivers State and in things that affect this country generally. You're right. The minister has not just been a friend. We've been like brothers all through our career. The truth of the matter is that we have a disagreement, and that disagreement essentially it's about politics, basically. But unfortunately, there is a level you get to. And when you have this kind of differences, it plays out in the public. So it's not been handled the way we could have handled it. But essentially what it is that we do have a disagreement.
And this disagreement is based on his ambition and your ambition.
Not really. I don't see it that way. I think from what I am able to understand, because like I tell people, the crisis we have in the APC in Rivers State is totally unnecessary and it's uncalled for. And in my humble opinion, it's not been properly handled. I don't see the minister as having an ambition, quote and unquote, in the context of the politics of Rivers State, because
no,
constitutionally, yes, he has an interest. Constitutionally, he's barred from seeking office in Rivers State, at least the elective office of the governor, which is what I am interested in.
Yes.
He's constitutionally barred from seeking that. I look at it that his responsibility would have been more of trying to provide an atmosphere in which all of us, including those he's interested in, and those of us that he does not want, can participate together. And then in the course of that participation, of course, his preferences can play out. But what I don't understand is why people are so bent on locking me out of the process. I think that's what is at the root of whatever issues that have played out in the public.
Now, you want to be governor. Why does he not want you to be governor? I understand in the first place that in 2015, there seemed to be an agreement at that time. That's what we made to understand between you and Atedo Peter side. That's what I heard, that it's either you or Atedo, sorry, not Atedo, Peter side, Dakuku Peter side. And that anybody who was picked, the other will support.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. How did that play out, and why is it different now?
Well, what played out in 2015 was that the governor then, who is now the minister now, who was our leader, did invite the two of us. Mm-hmm. And he told us that he has narrowed it down to myself and Dr. Peter side, and that at the end of the day, he wants us to agree that whoever he picks, the other person will support. And we agreed. The way it played out at the time was that he didn't make the choice immediately. You know, we kept having meetings. Okay, you say, okay, I'll tell you people next week, and then we'll all turn up, and then we'll sit down, and then say, okay, come next week. Yeah, so when things happen like that, naturally, people just took sides. I mean, some people say, okay, yeah, I would prefer Senator Abe. Some people say, okay, I prefer Dr. Peter's side. Mm-hmm. And when finally he made his decision, you know, it played out that way. Mm-hmm. And we did.
How did he make the decision? On what basis?
Well, he didn't explain his reasons, but he did call us and say, well, he has prayed to God and he has consulted, and you know, he has reached a decision that he is going to give the ticket to Peter's side, and that I should go back to the Senate. And that's what we did. And to the
You were at peace with it at that time?
Yes, I was. I did my best. I mean, we all did our best in the circumstances. A lot of people were disappointed. Some people, you know, balked out of it. But I was able to rally the bulk of my supporters, and we stayed in the party. You know, we fought that election. The election was fraught with violence. It was difficult. And apart from that, the current governor with the support of the then government of the day,
Yes.
were determined to take Rivers State by army. So they simply took all the result sheets. So we fought, and we midway through, a decision was taken that we should pull out of the election and boycott it and all that. We had a lot of issues and crises and all that. And then finally, Dr. Wike, Honorable Nyesom Wike, the current governor, emerged. And we went to court because we had more than enough evidence of what happened. It was nationally and internationally known that the elections in Rivers State were clearly manipulated and all that. So we went to court. We lost in the Supreme Court. And the rest, as you know, is history. So this time around, when the minister, expressed the view that we should all wait and, let's decide the way we did the last time, I felt that that system would not work now for several reasons. One is that we had promised Nigerians and indeed Rivers people that we were going to do things differently. And I thought that showing that we're doing things differently is an important way of generating public confidence in the process of what we're doing. And then secondly, in the context of the politics of our state, I'm from Ogoni, and this is not an important reason, but it's also something I took into consideration. In the 51 years of the existence of Rivers State, no Ogoni man has been anything in Rivers State. I mean, none of us, we have never been a governor, we have never been deputy governor, we have never been chief judge, we have never been speaker. We've not held any of the power positions in the state. And I felt that, and a lot of my people feel that there's really no basis for the continued exclusion of our own people from the top of the system.
Well,
and that having...
Peter said I would think the same way too.
No, but he is not from Ogoni.
He's not from Ogoni, but he's not Ikwere.
No, he's not Ikwere, but he's from Opobo. And the last deputy governor was from Opobo for 8 years, and then they are much smaller than the Ogoni people. So it's not, no, everybody has a right to aspire. And what I am fighting for is just for that right to also be free to aspire and express my own aspiration and that of other people who feel that they too have something they can contribute to the process and to the system. So that's what it is.
So what you're saying is that you were not at peace with this decision by a single person to say this is the person we want to pick, as it did the last time.
Yes,
so this time you want it because it didn't favor you?
No, not because it didn't favor me. For 3 reasons, and I've given you the 3 reasons. Firstly, I already know the decision will not favor me, so let's not pretend that there's any way to favor me. It will not. Secondly, at that time, he was the governor, and we have all the instruments and apparatus of the government at our disposal. So there's a fair chance that, we follow that, we could arrive at where we're going. But now things are different. Times are different. We had promised the people of the state that we are going to do things differently and that we were leaving the PDP because the PDP refused to accept our own desire that things should be done properly and differently. So having made those promises to Rivers people, I felt that it would not be fair to Rivers people if we don't walk the talk, if we don't show by example that we're actually committed to doing things differently.
There was this story that the minister came to your house in the presence of your wife and told you that I don't want you to become. How about that?
Yes, it's a fact.
It's a fact.
It's a fact, but I don't want to discuss that on television because it's a story. I've told that story privately to people severally, and it's a fact. And no matter how it is couched, I didn't think that that was right, and I felt that I should at least stand up for what I believe in and offer myself to Rivers people and give them that opportunity to make a decision.
Has he ever given you a reason why he doesn't want you? Or is it that he wants you, but he just wants Dakukumo?
I would think that may have been how it may have started that way, but I believe that right now He's probably gotten to the point where it can be anybody, but it can't be you because you disobeyed me when. So, but he's a friend, he's a brother. It's something we'll manage as we go along.
We are not managing it at all because, I mean, during the SCC meeting, you walked out with your people.
Sorry?
There was an SCC meeting, State Executive Council meeting. You reportedly walked out because it was not panning out.
No, I didn't walk out. It wasn't. What I complained about is that it was supposed to be a State Executive Committee meeting, but they ended up inviting more people who were not members of the State Executive Committee than those who were members.
Yes, so you thought it was not a meeting?
I said it was not a State Executive Committee meeting because the State Executive Committee is defined in the party constitution. So this can be called an expanded stakeholders meeting, but it cannot be called a State Executive Committee meeting. That's what I complained about.
Now, in this thing, I asked that Kuku Peterson was on this show last year, and I asked him that time, I said, what's your relationship with Magnus Abe? He said, fine.
Fantastic.
It was very fine. Fantastic. I mean, you was close to fantastic.
Fantastic.
So what is his relationship now?
Fantastic. That Kuku is like a brother to me.
Yes.
We've been together all through the years. In fact, there's this group they have in Opobo called Vanguard of Opobo Nation. I've always been part of it. We attend the meetings. He's like a brother to me, and he's right. So the issues are not personal. It's not between me and Dakuku. You know, between me and Dakuku, I believe that even if we have a contest and fair contest and one person emerges over the other, we could always talk to one another. The problem is between me and the minister, who doesn't want me to participate in the process at all.
You know, you are saying that the minister is is trying to come in between friends. Is that what you are saying?
No. No, I don't think so. We're all friends. The minister is also my friend. I'm saying that what the root of the problem is that they don't want me to even participate in the process. The whole idea of the crisis in the APC is that I should not be allowed to participate.
In the process?
Yes, so lock him out. In fact, he's out of the party. And the latest one that somebody was saying the other day is that, they said I'm working with Wike in the PDP. And I said that, there's some things people say and you get hurt. Everybody in this country knows the sacrifice I've made to build the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State, at least. I was one of the 11 senators that actually defied President Jonathan and dumped the PDP on the floor of the Nigerian Senate. And I have said, and I want to repeat here, that under no circumstance will I go back to the PDP. But when you have a crisis in a party and people who are looking for a way to malign you and get people to see you as a bad person, begin to say certain things that are most uncharitable and unfair about you when they know that it is true and it is false and completely untrue, is a terrible thing. Now, I was saying to people that when they had a crisis in PDP, people were saying, the crisis was sponsored by APC. And I was with a friend of mine who is a top member of the PDP, and he was telling me, people are sponsoring the crisis in PDP. And I said to him, so I didn't know that Wike and Fayose were working for APC. He said, what do I mean? I said, it is known in this country that it was Wike and Fayose who went to Maiduguri and invited Sheriff to come and be chairman of PDP. Now, if APC sent Wike and Fayose to invite Sheriff, then they caused the crisis. Now, the other stakeholders in the PDP, McAfee, Mark, all of them, rejected that decision and opposed it up to the convention in Port Harcourt, which generated the crisis in the court case and all that. I said, so are you saying that APC now got these other stakeholders to reject that decision? So we have a problem in the APC. The minister came since last year, removed everybody. You're no longer the leader here. I'm no longer the leader, even in my ward in the APC. And then people reacted. You have not said that Wike sent the minister to remove us. But people who are reacting, you say Wike sent them. Now we had a Congress. People bought tellers to pay money to the party to participate in the Congress. The Congress was taken to a hotel, and all these people were locked out. They were not even given an opportunity to participate. And they reacted, and you say, okay, Wike sponsored them. Why don't you say Wike sponsored the people who locked them out of the process? Because if they didn't lock them out of the process, there'll be no reaction. And everybody knows that if I have said I am running for the governorship ticket of my party, and I am running, I'm serious about it. Now, if you're holding a Congress of that magnitude, and I'm a senator in the party, I'm a gubernatorial aspirant in the party, and I'm totally locked out of the process, you that you're taking the decision, you know that I must react. And my reaction must, of course, generate situations in the party. So did Wike send you to take that decision so as to create crisis in the APC? If Wike did not send you to take the decision, why would you then say that Wike sent me to say the decision is wrong and I will not accept it? I mean, you look at it yourself.
Now, the congresses, of course, you've said that the congresses that they were not legal and they were not properly done and so on. What were the things specifically, other than the fact that they locked them up, locked them in? What were the other things that were wrong? I know you mentioned something that on that very day, people started picking forms or something like that.
Well, let me explain how this whole process went. There was the first Congress held on the 5th.
The World Congress.
The World Congress,
Yeah.
which the guidelines were clear. People were to be given forms. We held a meeting. They said the forms were there. Everybody would be given form. But as soon as the minister landed in Port Harcourt, all that changed. People didn't get the forms. Nobody was talking to anybody again. The people who were to organize the Congress, one Dogo or somebody from Kaduna, obviously with a very tight relationship to the system that be, came in, and when people asked, okay, when will the Congress committee now address us so that we know what is happening? They said, no, everybody should go to their ward. They are not talking to anybody. Where are the forms? There is no form. Where are the result sheets? There is no result. So before we knew it, everybody had gone to Intel's and locked up the party place. Now, that Congress, they went ahead to conduct it without there was crisis everywhere, of course, as you would imagine. And people now rushed to court, got an order from the court to stop the congresses. They went on air to announce that they will not obey the order and went ahead and conducted another Congress in defiance of the court order. Now, when the National now looked at it and said, no, clearly there was an order, don't accept that result. What they did was that on Friday, they now announced Friday night, published on Saturday morning, that there will be new World Congresses on Saturday at 10 a.m. There will now be local government congresses on Sunday at 1 p.m. There will now be state congress on Monday. Now, the party guidelines provide at least 24-hour notice for each of these congress for you to fill from and all that. All that was thrown out. Nobody was aware. Nobody knew that there was going to be Congress. By Monday morning, they had announced the conclusion of the entire exercise. Of course, people went back to the court. And the court gave another order voiding that second Congress which they have held. So clearly, there is a determined attempt to ensure that party members who are seen as quote and unquote not loyal will not be allowed to be part of the party. That is the objective of what is going on in Rivers State right now.
I have to ask you this question. Would you characterize Rotimi Amaechi as your leader today?
I have never quarreled with him over leadership. Me, I want to be governorship candidate of the party. I want to be governor of Rivers State. You know, he is the leader. Those are two separate
So you
positions.
mean the leader has gone astray?
I mean the leader is not being just and he's not being fair. You know, the condition for peace in any situation is justice. Without justice, there can be no peace.
Why would you
And
call him your leader if you feel it's not just?
Well,
if it's your leader, then it's your leader.
Then he should be just. You know, he should be
trying
fair.
To make him to be just.
I will fight. We will fight for what is right. You know, anybody can lead as long as you lead in such a manner that, you know, people will have confidence in what you're doing. People know that everybody's interests can be protected and that you will be the one to protect everybody's interests. That's how a leader will carry everybody along. But where a leader shows so much preference that, you know, people feel every time you do something, people know that what you're doing is targeted against a certain group or a certain interest, then there is no justice there, and it makes things very difficult.
It looks like the battle is actually a very tough one because you also have the NWC to contend with.
The NWC of the party, I believe that if they want to do the right thing, the issues in the party in Rivers State are not too complicated.
But are they working the way you want it?
No, they're not.
They're not. So are you going to do it because they are the final...
Sorry?
They're like the final say in the party.
Well, I believe that...
I believe they have sworn in the party chairman and so on.
Yes, but even that doesn't make any difference because the NWC cannot override a decision of a court of competent jurisdiction. That's one. Two is that we are all in this party. The APC is not your normal political party. The APC,
why do you say that?
Let me explain. The APC is an idea that Nigerians can do the right thing. We all came together to say that this is a vehicle, you know, under which Nigeria will do the right thing. We brought a man whose integrity everybody accepted, that this is one man that if he sees white, he will say he's white. And if he sees black, he will say he's black. That's why Nigerians follow the APC. So no matter who you are, NWCO, senator, minister, you can't be in the APC and do the wrong thing openly and visibly for Nigerians to see. People will know that you're not acting within the spirit of the agreement that this party has with the Nigerian people. So we are determined to fight for what is right. And the only place that you can use what is right as a basis for argument today in Nigeria is the APC. Because nobody in APC can open his mouth on television and say, no, we can do the wrong thing, it doesn't matter. You can't say that if you're a member of this party. You must justify whatever you're doing. You must show to Nigerians that you're doing the right thing. You must show that you're following the rules, because that is what we promised. So we believe that the one place where we stand a chance to see justice, to see the right thing done in this country is in the APC, and that's why we're here.
Then do you think that the NWC is being compromised or has been compromised or has lost a sense of justice? Because clearly they are not in good stead with you.
Well, you know, the chairman of the party did say that there are issues in Rivers, that he set up a committee, as I understand it, that was to look into the Rivers issue, but that clearly was window dressing because you know, when you're fighting people who have so much power, it's very difficult for people to look them in the face and tell them that what they are doing is wrong. And that is a big problem in Africa. It's not just a Nigerian problem. Yeah. And that's why it's easy in Africa to do things that you cannot do in other societies. But we believe that this country is changing. We believe that under a president like Buhari, people who have the courage to do the right thing and try to do the right thing will be protected to do the right thing. So we believe that if we have members of the party who have the courage to do what is right, we believe that the system will support them to do what is right. That's why, people are calling for changes in the party. You can look at the level of crisis we've had in the APC. With a little strength and courage and truth, a lot of the crisis, in the opinion of several Nigerians, not just me, were clearly avoidable. We thank those who have worked for the party, but there are a lot of us who believe that we can do better as a party.
Well, looking at the situation as it is, it's very clear that you really need to shake the institutions. Are you now depending on the courts, or are you depending on the use of influence or rule of law within the party? Look, like within the party, it seems like you don't see how much of prayer. So are you depending principally on the courts now?
No, we believe we're having a convention this month. A new leadership will emerge. The courts are there. And you too must remember that at the time the minister himself fought with the PDP, he was expelled, even by the party. But there is always a judge that is bigger than all the earthly judges. And he uses people from where you expect and where you don't expect to ensure that, justice is done in certain cases. So I don't think that an NWC that sits down to openly perpetrate injustice will succeed. I believe that there are stronger voices in this country, and that the right thing will be done within the APC. That's what we promise Nigerians. And we will hold the party to account, and Nigerians will hold them to account. So cases where it is clear that the party is inflicting injustice on its own members, I don't think it will stand the test of time. I believe something will be done.
Have you ever had any situation where somebody like a fatherly figure comes around and says, okay, Magnus, sit down, let us resolve this matter? Has it ever happened?
No, I don't think anybody can call the minister to sit down and he will agree. I don't know. I don't know who will do that, but I know of several people who have, made that effort, and they simply never got back to me, because he simply wouldn't show up. But anybody who calls me, I will go. If he calls me, I will go. If anybody calls me, I will go. I'm not dragging anything.
Why do you think he's not doing that? Is it because he feels that he has an upper hand and therefore
he needs to prove the power now first? So we're watching, and we're praying, and we're working.
The real two people are you and the Kuku Peter side. Do you people talk? Have you been
like
talking?
I told you, I don't have any problem with Dr.
No, you don't have a problem. But have you been talking? Have you people sat down to say, okay, this thing where they happen, how we go do it?
No, I don't. Nothing.
Where they happen, how we go do it?
No, I don't. Nothing. Dakuku is not doing anything to me or to anybody else. And I know that Dr. Peter side is somebody who's being a teacher in his own way. He's somebody who is always. He's not somebody who will get up and do some of the things that he's not the one doing it, and he wouldn't do it. So we know who is doing it. There's no need dragging Dr. Peter side into it. He may be the ultimate beneficiary, but he's not the perpetrator.
So if eventually the whole thing pans out and Peter side emerges, are you going to work with him?
I have said publicly, and I want to repeat it here, if the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State picks any candidate other than me through a process that is free, fair, transparent, and inclusive, I will not just support that candidate. I will lead the campaign for that candidate. But I will not accept any process that, is not inclusive, it's not free, and it's not fair.
You were the one that picked or nominated the DG for the campaign for Peter side.
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did. It shows how charming you people have been.
Yeah, Peter side, like I said,
although you also said that the guy who runs the campaign is now against you.
That's how power is. Power. These things happen. You don't worry about them too much. But like I said, I have absolutely no issues with Dr. Peter side. He's my brother, he's my friend, and He's not the one who is locking me out of the process. If he was, I'll go to him and say, oh boy, which waiting I do you now, not anything now, you know? But he wouldn't even do that, because anybody who wants to contest an election, even if you have the power, you won't use it to fight people who can help you. Nobody does that. So people who will do this kind of are people who are not going to contest, so they don't have to call anybody.
Okay.
You know?
Okay, so what do you predict going forward?
Well, I don't have any predictions going forward. I still believe that the party will do what is right, and then make sure that every member of the All Progressives Congress who has an interest in the processes and the party should be given an opportunity to participate, and participate evenly. I believe that the party needs to do that in order for the party to be able to move forward in the state.
Okay, let us move national now. As a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, you must have been participating in some of the drama going on between the legislature and the executive. People feel that this Senate, this very Senate, is a cantankerous, uncooperative, sometimes unconstitutional, sometimes bullying Senate, you know, compared to the ones we've had in the past. Always fighting with the executive and not cooperating. And sometimes some people say this Senate is part of the problem of this democracy.
Those are very harsh words for, for a national institution.
Yeah.
But my take on the present situation is that I think that we need a lot more Nigerians who will put Nigeria, you know, ahead of every other consideration. In this country, a lot of times, Nigerians define themselves in terms of Nigeria last. You know, if a particular situation, they can start with being the fact that I'm Yoruba, I'm Ogoni, I'm Hausa, I'm this. In another situation, they can start with the fact that, well, I'm a Muslim, you know, and you're a Christian. In another situation, they can start with the fact that I'm a man, you're a woman. You know, Nigeria always comes last. But I believe that if we put Nigeria first, we will understand that a harmonious working relationship between the executive and the legislature serves the interest of Nigeria. I am one of those senators who believe that I'm working, and I will continue to work to try to create that relationship between the executive and the legislature. I'm a supporter of President Muhammadu Buhari because, I mean, he supported me in my own time. I'm a member of the All Progressives Congress. That's how I got to the Senate.
Well, some of your people are, some of the All Progressive people, some of them are now in PDP trying to move out. Of course, I know that you were an NPDP once,
yes.
And some of them are moving out now. Although they have not moved out, it looks like they are threatening to move out.
I have advised them, and I want to repeat it here. The biggest mistake any of us can make is to go back to the PDP. We were the ones who brought down the PDP after 16 years in power. If we allow the PDP to get back into power, what they will do to some of us will make whatever is happening to us in the APC look like child's play. And I've advised them that privately. For me, we promised Nigerians that APC will bring change to this country. The proper thing for us to do, no matter the challenges, is to work with others in the APC to see how we achieve that. So that is not an option. What we need to do, and I will continue to do that, is to look for ways to try to create harmony between the presidency and the legislature, no matter what the difficulties are. People were talking the other day, say the National Assembly has threatened to impeach the president. They don't have the numbers to impeach the president.
They don't have the numbers.
Everybody knows that. And at the same time, too, it has not been possible for the executive or for those who don't like the National Assembly to change the leadership. No. So the reality is that the numbers are balanced in such a way that they just have to work together. Yes. And this is the beauty of democracy. When you bring people who will not agree or don't want to agree, they are forced by the votes to agree.
together.
Yes, that's democracy.
Yes.
So the wish of the Nigerian people, as expressed in the numbers, is that these people need to work together. So I think that what we need to do are men of conscience who can drive home that message that, listen, what you people are doing is hurting the country. Stop it and let's do what is necessary for Nigeria. When it comes to time to vote, everybody will go and vote. I was very happy with what I saw happening in Kenya the other day. I don't know if it's real. Yes.
Odinga and
Kenyatta. Yes.
It was an extraordinary act.
That was statesmanship and reconciliation at the highest level.
Yes.
You know, so every time, as we're coming out, I was in the car with my friend. I said, every time in Nigeria we talk about ancestral causes. But we know countries that have actually, whose ancestors have committed serious crimes.
Yes.
They are still making progress. What crime did our own ancestors commit? Say
that is bigger than slavery.
That is bigger than slavery, bigger than what the Japanese did, later than what the Germans. We threw away some twins and all that.
Yes.
You know, but in the context of people who slaughtered whole villages, look at what the British did in North America. Look at what the Portuguese and the Spaniards did in South America.
It looks like this.
And they are still making progress.
We are the ones committing the ancestral crimes
right now. People. Yes. You know, so we need to solve some of our problems. And as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I will still continue to carry the message of reconciliation. No matter how unpopular it is, I will continue to work to see that, you know, the numbers are asking these people to work together. That's what Nigerians want to see, and that's what I will work for.
Okay, we've had Senator Magnus Abe speak Rivers politics and national politics. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thanks.
Thank you, Sam.
Thanks.
Thank you.